What's up everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at ByuN's gameplay, finally a POV analysis of ByuN. I was looking forward to doing this for a while. You know, we've been looking at Maru a lot with his perfect gameplay, but ByuN is an amazing Terran in his completely own way. He makes a sick amount of comebacks, he has a completely different approach to StarCraft as well. And I'm really looking forward to this game. Now this game is actually from TSL. From some context, it was actually 1-1, this was the final game. And yeah, ByuN's approach to StarCraft, like I said, it's just completely different. You know, you can watch Maru, you have the perfect formula, but ByuN, he does crazy builds, he makes insane comebacks, he never gives up. And that's one quality that I really admire of ByuN. I feel like even from the worst positions, he can still make a game out of it. Very frequently, he just wins. Even this game, you're going to see at some point, you're going to be like, how on earth did he win this game? But because it just doesn't look possible, but he does it. And I really want to see how he does it. So yeah, here we go. Obviously, he's going to start at the barracks first, nothing crazy. He does like to proxy racks a lot against Zerg, but we're not going to see that. Actually, in one of the games in this series, I just skimmed through the series real quick. He did a proxy 3 racks, and Scarlett was doing a 1-base baiting all, and he ended up having like an eBay 3 barracks to like wall out the ramp. Like, it was pretty crazy. Now, wait, this SCV is actually very early. I wonder what this SCV is for. Like, you just sent this SCV out at 17 instead of the usual 19. Wait, I've actually never seen this. Where's this SCV going to? Is this just like a super early scout? Oh, so he's playing Marine first. You see, he's already taking a different approach. I like that. Like, I feel like we haven't seen that for a while. Let me get off his POV here because he's going a bit all over the place for... Let's see what he's gonna do here. Oh, he's actually gonna fake a bunker? Or he's actually gonna rally the Marine across? No, it is a... I think he's trying to fake Scarlett out, like trying to make a bunker here or something. Scarlett doesn't really seem to be buying in. She's just rallying the drones down, and that's it. So yeah, this SUV was not particularly successful. Good attempt, I guess, something different. I would have really liked it if he actually rallied the Marine across and somehow it worked, but I think he would have had to send the SUV even faster, to be honest. Now he's going to go for a second gas as well, so it's not going to be a standard 3cc opener. Now, ByuN actually really likes the Marine first. I remember especially when he came back from the military, he was playing Marine first pretty much every game. And I tried it too, but I never got into it too much. Like, you know, this is a pretty long game. We can see it from his POV, and hopefully we can kind of finally understand why the Marine first is good in his opinion. Because personally, you know, I have won games with it, but I never really got it. And so far, all it seems like is, you know, you get a faster factory. Just to lay out the benefits real quick that I do know, is you get a factory faster without having to play gas first for it. Gas first is economically pretty bad, so if you can get that faster factory without gas first, it's pretty nice. But you miss out on all the scouting. There's no drones you can kill, no links you can kill. You can even technically play without any Zerglings at all. Straight up just have 2 more drones as Zerg. That's the downsides. And I guess one thing you can do is also like hunt for the Overlord. Now he's actually continuing to make Marines from the barracks and Hellions from a naked factory pretty much. Which means that he is going to go for some kind of timing attack. Like maybe I can envision like a 3 or 4 Hellion run by, 7 Marines into the main, something like this. Seems to be pretty hard to pull off on this map though. So let's see. And also the follow-up to this is important. You can follow this up with so many things. You could even go for a fusion core. That's what I like to do. If I do some kind of a weird Marine drop, I actually do like to go for a fusion core. He's gonna go for Hellions here. Actually misplaced that factory a little bit. Hope he fixes that. Else that could be potentially tragic. Oh, this actually hurts, by the way. This, when you look back at your base and you see this, you're like, why me, you know? Okay, he sees it just in time. And he's actually going to go straight to the front. So this seems more like an Overlord hunting squad than anything else. Very interesting. Tech lab on the starport at the same time. Back at home. Yeah, he's going to... How many Zerglings are out? There's only 1 Zergling out actually. Okay, so this Overlord is dead. And he's going to supply block Scarlett. Now, I'm still wondering. Like, he kills an Overlord, but where's this going to lead to? One thing that I do like is that he's following up with more Hellions. Like, a big downside of opening Marines is that you don't have that natural map control with the Hellions, but he's actually going to go up to even 7. And here we can see the follow-up phase. It's an armory with Banshees. This is also something ByuN really likes to do. Hellbat attacks against Zerg. And even though I've done them as well, myself, Hellbat attacks always kind of feel like the game is not 100% in your control. Like if the Zerg responds properly, they should get the lead by that. But ByuN does them so frequently you do start to wonder, like, is there something else to it? He's also adding 2 more barracks before the 3rd. Okay, you know, like I said, I skimmed through the replays quickly. I didn't actually see this when I was on 8x speed. So he actually, this is not just a different approach. Like, this is completely different from any kind of TvZ, really. So he's gonna go in here with the Hellbat. Scarlett looks super prepared, like this. Yeah, he's instantly running for his life. I do like the attempt there to split off 1 Hellbat. Trades, I think it was 5 bannings for 4 Hellbats. I mean, it looks bad, but honestly, Hellbats are just minerals, so it's not the worst thing in the world. It's more that I'm wondering about the build order, because the worker count is very low for ByuN. There's no 3rd CC, and I feel like he's just gonna be behind from this. So how is he gonna climb back? Now, he is playing Banshees behind it. I think he's gonna make 2. Obviously, this is an important thing. You should always repair this one, send it back home and repair it. Yeah, there we go, 2 SCVs. It's kind of underused, honestly. Like, a lot of time, if your Banshee is low or your medevac is low, it's very normal to just AFK it in the corner here. But if it's actually realistic to bring it home and repair it, you might as well. Like, these Banshees could totally get like 10 kills. They could also only get 1, but there is potential for them to get 10 kills. And ByuN really is that man to, like, maximize the potential of the units, you know. Like I said, never giving up. Let's go back on ByuN's POV, see if he's a little bit all over the place still. I feel like it's a little bit more manageable now than before. If it gets too crazy, I'll hop off the POV, don't worry. I'm used to this from Clem. When I watch like Maru games or Cure games, we can stay on the POV all the time because they play like a little bit more relaxed, like they're not all over the place. But ByuN and Clem, they definitely get a little bit crazy. So you can see he's going with the Banshees here. If that Banshee wasn't repaired, it would already have died. So, you know, keep in mind how important that is. Now, it seems like he's going to follow up with some kind of tank push. He didn't make any mines. He went straight for tanks. And on this map, I can kind of see that work as well. So maybe, you know, the map could be a factor in why he actually went for that 2 base instead of the 3 base. And I really like how aggressive ByuN always is, by the way. I feel like it's very rare to catch a ByuN game when he's just going to chill and sit back, you know. I feel like ByuN games are always entertaining. But even now, if you look at the worker count and stuff, it does feel like he's quite behind still. Scarlett's actually going to go up to 85 drones, which might be a little too many. But still, this is just a 54 SCV Terran, right? And actually, look at the upgrades. This is even crazier. I didn't realize that he's playing single eBay. Single eBay in TvZ is honestly very rare. That's something you do when you play like the weird 3-rack style or... You know, honestly, in like Wings of Liberty builds, but double eBay has been just a staple. So this is actually kind of crazy. This position is awesome, by the way. You know, he attacks so fast that Scarlett actually has a lot of drones, but not that many units. And then normally when you have this kind of push, and this I'm talking about the 2-base build, by the way, why the 2-base build works. But now the push is so fast that ByuN can't just be overwhelmed, and tank positioning like this is actually insane. Like, this tank covers all this space, basically, except for just hugging the hatchery. Like, this positioning here is actually awesome. And really difficult for Scarlett to attack into. Oh, this is a really cute move, by the way. Did you guys see what he did with the Hellbats? Just quickly, he actually moved the Hellbats back to the tank to cover it from the links. That was actually... If we didn't do that, the tank would have been dead and his push would have been over. If you have a lot of Hellbats, you can kind of split them. But ByuN only had 2 or 3 and he used them to the max value there, which was really cool. What's actually funny to me is that ByuN has the supply lead, like, momentarily. Only for a little bit, though. Banshee still getting in. I would love it if he brought those Banshees back to repair as well at some point. Now, let's see. Actually, oh no, he just barely didn't manage to save the tank. That was close. A good micro for the rest, though. But still, if ByuN doesn't kill Scarlett here, he's going to be in trouble. 80 drones against 56 SCVs, guys. No double eBay. I guess 2-2 is about to start for Scarlett any time as well. And he's actually going to make Liberators. Okay. What I really like about this is that he's playing similar to like the Mass Bio TvZ opener guide that I did with like the 3 racks. And I actually really like that style. But I needed different openers for it. So this is actually totally something I would try to copy. For my own ladder games, because this just looks cool. And once again, this is what I was talking about, the ByuN's different approach. Like, this game is completely different from any other TvZ that I've shown in the POV analysis. You know, you've seen the Maru perfect play, but ByuN goes for this crazy build, 1 eBay, 3 racks before 3rd, finds some inhuman tank positioning, makes Liberators behind it. Like, this is awesome stuff. Now, how is he gonna follow it up, though? Like, I imagine he has to keep being aggressive here. This map, though, it's legit. Like, looking at it, it has some awesome tank spots. If you do a build like this where you have the initiative, you can actually use these tank spots so well. Like, even this. And just in case you guys are going to say, what about if the Zerg takes the other base? On the other base, you also have these tank spots where you can, like, siege lips here, drop marines, or even simply behind these rocks if they are not killed. So this actually, you know, I never really realized this about the right side because this is not typically how my TvZs go. But this map is actually kind of like tank spot heaven once you get that forward position, huh? Yeah, and the more I see this game, like we're about 10 minutes in, the more I start to realize it's probably this map specifically why I decided to do this build order on. Now this is what's really tough to deal with without mines, the counter attacks. Let's see how he's gonna do it. If I know my ByuN, he's honestly gonna deal with it by attacking more. Like, micro really well, maximum value out of the units. You know, he's 30 SCVs down, 30 workers down, but, you know, he's not gonna, you know, chill and sit back and macro up. That's not usually what he does. Look at the micro here. This is just awesome, by the way. Tank getting really big hits as well. Oh, did you guys see that? Target firing the 2 Banelings from the bottom. That was actually really awesome micro from ByuN. And it looks like small things, but honestly, if he didn't do those little micro tricks there, he probably would have gotten absolutely annihilated. At least the Marines would have been gone. He loses his momentum. And that, yeah, legit, that micro there saved the game for him, 100%. But still, we're making the comeback happen. Awesome moves, but we're down in workers. More importantly, we're down 1-1 against 2-2 in about 10 seconds. And there's Mudas on the way. A little bit of a misclick there by Scarlett's gonna help him out. If those Marines were green health, ByuN may have actually been able to win the game there, but over the time, because he was microing, he stimmed so much, stim, that all his Marines were 5 HP, and the Mudas could actually clear it up. Now let's look at the general game scenario. It's actually super chaotic. Normally, if you do this much damage as a Terran, you would be winning, but because of ByuN's crazy style, low SCVs, this game actually, it looks relatively even, but I would say it's probably still slightly in favor of Scarlett, mostly because of the upgrades. Also, there are actually 5 hatcheries alive. Even if we did lose some hatcheries, or some drone lines rather, there are still 5 hatcheries up. Now the worker count is equalized, which is typically good for Terran. But I think ByuN still needs to do a little bit more. I would actually say, it's funny, I would say this is maybe the time for ByuN to finally back off and chill a little bit, because he just needs that 2-2. In Marine battles, upgrades are enormous, guys. 1-1 versus 2-2. It's just a no-go. Like, Marines with bad upgrades, they just don't cut it. You need good upgrades. So he did so much damage, I would say this is actually the time if ByuN would actually go back, or ever go back and chill, it would be now. And I'm curious to see if he's gonna do it, because he's just been so aggressive all the time. Notice that he doesn't even have the gases on his third base, by the way. He is actually making a Thor, though. And I find it very interesting, because usually Thors only pair up well with Widow Mines. And the reason for that is that if you just have Widow Mines burrowed, flocks of Mutas can actually go in, pick them off one by one, pick the other one, etc. But if there's one Thor, it stops them from doing it. If you play Marine Tank Thor, the engagements for the Zerg are still the same. You make a big concave and you A-move in, right? So how is the Thor gonna complement this, I'm wondering. Actually making a second factory as well. Okay, are we finally gonna see some mines then, perhaps? And I'm really glad that I predicted this right, by the way. That the first time ByuN was actually chilling a little bit is when he had to wait for that 2-2. And honestly, I'm very impressed that he found that timing to relax. Because this game has been absolutely nuts. This is a 13-minute game, but I'm sure they've both aged 2 years already. You know, over these last 13 minutes. Because this has been chaotic, this has been epic. And don't forget that this is a game 3 as well. Now, even though he's playing this Marine Tank straight up pushing style, he is still going to transition into the Widow Mines. Which I like. I would say it's easier to stay on Marine Tank because you can push and you have like a proper army composition. But theoretically, it's better to go for the Widow Mines in this case, because against Marineling or Mutaling Bane, sorry, Marine Tank usually doesn't do quite as well, especially not when there's a high Muta count. Now, if we're gonna go back and look at the situation of the game once again, to me, this looks like an almost unwinnable game. Like before, it looked a bit even and I wasn't sure, but if you look at this, there's 24 Mutas on the map. Scarlett is up 30 supply, more bases, more economy, way more gas especially, which means more Banelings. And yeah, I just want to know how ByuN is possibly going to pull this off. He has some Marines at home to defend against the Mutas, which is really nice. This is the tank positioning I was talking about, by the way. Super killer tank positioning here. Tanks behind the rocks, not much Banelings can do. And Scarlett is, yeah, just like I was about to say, is gonna have to forfeit that base. Now ByuN in the meantime at home, defending with Marine Thor. The one Thor is really good in defending, by the way, complementing the Marines and the turrets. And actually, surprisingly, he didn't take that much damage. I wonder what the... Okay, so ByuN only lost 22 workers this game, which is kind of crazy. Saved the Thor with a hot pickup, very well done. But now what? Like, ByuN can go back, but he's gonna lose a lot of SCVs in the meantime. Like, if you look at the supply here, this is exactly what I'm talking about, guys. Spoiler. ByuN is gonna win this game. Does this look like a game a Terran would win normally? 50 supply down, 35 workers down. It's not just Pureling Bane. There's 20 Mutas on the map. There's even the base going down in the corner here. Like, how on earth does he pull this off? It's just like I'm telling you. This fighting spirit, this comeback potential of ByuN is what I appreciate so much, you know. It's a quality I personally don't have, I'll be honest. Like, I try to play hard, but when things really get dicey, you know, like this is a super frustrating situation, I tend to just give up. Like many other StarCraft pros, it's a very mentally, you know, difficult position to be in the game. But ByuN, he always continues, always has this fighting spirit, and somehow he wins games like these. Like, don't ask me how. The only hope I see in this game is that he's getting the 3-3 up, which... honestly, it's not even that crazy. If you play Bio against Mutaling Bane, you are going to find yourself 3-3 against 2-2 at some point. Now, he did start making mines, but he only has 2 on the field. Also, very important to notice here is that, honestly, everything just looks bad for ByuN here. He has no Marauders. Mines without Marauders are not that good. For the simple reason that Marines, they need to run away from Banelings. So Marines can't even really cover the mines, if that makes sense. The one Thor is the only thing that can cover the mines here for ByuN, because the Thor doesn't have to run away from Banelings. But even there, Marines run away from the Banelings, Muta snipe the Thor. Like, without Marauders, it's just an incredibly difficult dance. The only thing I can imagine is that he has some, like, superhuman micro going on. 149 against 191 supply. Did have his +3 armor finished. Would definitely rather have that be +3 attack. That's actually a mistake I see casters point out a lot that ByuN does, and I notice it too. That he gets the armor over the attack. But Marines, they fire way more than they actually take hits, right? So the attack is just way more important. At least it's an upgrade. Scarlett with another counterattack. I really like this counterattack, by the way. Those counterattacks are so difficult to defend if there's like 20 plus Mutas on the field. 28 Mutas is actually insane. Now here, I feel like for the next 10 minutes, we're just going to see like some really crazy multitasking by ByuN. This was a really good army split, actually defending the Mutas. It's really hard to send back enough of units to defend Mutas, because this is 30 Mutas. If you send 15 Marines, they just die. He sent back a really good amount of units, while killing the base on the right side. And even if it feels like it doesn't matter that much, 4 base instead of 5 for Zerg is a pretty big deal, especially 17 minutes into a game, right? So here, ByuN actually knows this base is here because he saw Lynx rally from it. But I feel like in the chaos, he didn't quite realize it was there. But let's look at the income. I feel like this would have been close to 3k if this base was alive. So that was actually a big deal. Now, ByuN, this is a typical scrappy ByuN game. No CC in the main, it floated over to the 4th base. Bunch of mules dropping there. We're on 35 SCVs, which is honestly poverty. And even now, I'm still watching, like... I'm not faking you guys, I'm not kidding. Like, I don't know how you're supposed to win a game like this, you know? He's 50 supply down, he has no income. He just launched all of his mules on one base that he was saving, so his income is gonna be comparable for about, what is a mule, a minute long? And then Scarlett is just gonna run away with the economy game. Also, I think another base is finishing up for Scarlett at the same time. Like, look at all the hatcheries on the map, look at the creep as well. The creep spread, honestly, it's very thin. It's only like 1 creep tumor layered. As you can see here, 1 creep tumor, 1 creep tumor. But if you're not rich, you actually cannot afford to scan. Now, it looks like we're gonna have a big fight. Let's see how the fight goes. Really good micro here by ByuN. Actually target firing those Mutas, running away from the Lynx. He sacrificed 10 SCVs for it, but the efficiency was really good there. Also, I find it very notable that aggressive players like ByuN, I feel like they often tend to F2 a lot. Because you're trying to swing your army everywhere. But ByuN doesn't really seem to do that too much. Like, he always has, you know, the 1 drop that's not being recalled back, the 1 mine. So he definitely, I mean, it's if you know how to use that well, F2 is actually a strong tool. But in this case, when it's chaos, when you have jobs everywhere, it's definitely better to not be an F2 spammer. And I guess this is, you know, ByuN is good at it too. Oh, look at his surround. That's pretty crazy. He also has units coming from the top. Mutas are pretty fast though, so he didn't really end up killing a whole lot there, I believe. I actually skipped forward a little bit. My bad. Let's go back quickly. Now, I really like this harass on the bottom. He sent some mines. This is actually funny. He sent some mines and he was like, that's gonna be fine. But every time he looked back, there's just more drones. So at some point he was like, you know what? I'll just send another medevac there. Like, screw this. This is annoying as heck. Let's see. I think he got about 5 or 6 mutas there, actually. That was pretty big. And now he's finally getting some marauders up too. Still not too many, though. If you look at this, in this entire game, this is insane. ByuN was never rich enough to add additional barracks. He's still on his 5 barracks from the start. Like, he straight up never had the money to build additional barracks. Look at his income. He has 25 SCVs. Look at the money going up. It's so slow. He can, like, afford 3 Marines with it at a time. Yeah, which is kind of crazy. Though at the same time, he is really managing to cut down the economy of Scarlet a lot. Like, these are actually almost the final bases for Scarlet. That's actually like every single SCV ByuN has, by the way, at this base. Glad he managed to save those. But if you look at the situation now of the game, this base is gone and denied. This base was denied, but for some reason he's letting it live for a little bit. Slight mistake there. And he denied all the bases on the top left. If he gets rid of this too, honestly, the economy game is going to be very similar. Somehow. And it is really just the pure aggression. Like, I feel like every time he found timings to deny 1 or 2 bases, and if he didn't do that once, he would have just been swept by masses and masses of units. But right now, like I said, the economy is being denied here. The mineral income for both is absolutely tragic at this point, but ByuN is actually slightly in the lead. Is this base already... Oh, this base is already mined out too. Yeah, Scarlet actually does not have mining anymore at this point. So even though she's up in supply, there's actually like no place to properly mine from, which is crazy. And ByuN has a massive army, like 120 army supply. That's actually what you should have when you're maxed. But ByuN only has 22 SCVs. So he basically has a maxed army without like the economy and the fortresses behind it. Now Scarlet is feeling pressure to attack in, and he was waiting perfectly in position. And honestly, that fight probably went as well as it could have for ByuN. Like, there were so many bailings. Oh, that ending was bad for ByuN though. I think he, you know, just a little bit loss of concentration. Probably thought she wasn't going to turn on him. That was probably one of the first micro mistakes we've seen him make. He's usually like super clutch in these scenarios. And honestly, he has been. I find it very hilarious that Scarlet has 56 drones and this is what the income looks like. Like, actually, every single hatchery has just been killed. And trust me, if you want to kill every single hatchery a Zerg has, you have to kill so many, dude. Like, ByuN has killed at least like 6-7 hatcheries this game already. You know, if not more. Now it's 3 SCVs against 56. Like, even at this point still, after everything that's happened, I would still give the lead to Scarlet. And the reason is not that it's, you know, 1 worker against 55, because there's barely hatcheries. But I think it's mostly because there's so many mutas out. Like, 13 mutas. When you're like this scrappy, you can't afford a Thor. You can't afford turrets. You have to leave units at home all the time, and you can't really do anything. Giving Scarlet the time to get back up. If those mutas weren't here, honestly, I wouldn't be so sure who has the lead. But with these mutas, I think it's definitely going to Scarlet. I mean, there is 0 workers on the field. Have you guys seen a Terran come back from 0 workers against 52 before? Tell me. I know the Terran is more army supply, but don't forget that there is some Banelings on the field. Not that many, actually. 7 Banelings. And the reason I say that is because Banelings are... I would say for supply, Baneling is probably the best unit. The Baneling is only half a supply. A Baneling is obviously more valuable than a Marine, but it's only half a supply. So if you have even supply in Marines and Banes, obviously the Zerg army is a lot stronger. So 40 against 62, I would say that's normal right now. ByuN actually does have a strong army because it's only 7 Banelings. Though Scarlet at any point can make like 10 more, and then yeah, it becomes really questionable. Actually kind of has her trapped here. And I'm wondering... Okay, so Scarlet is... Yeah, she's long distance mining, but she's gonna get this base up. I mean, it's only 4 mineral patches, so the income is not gonna be too crazy. But once this one finishes, the economy is absolutely gonna boom. Now in the meantime, ByuN has had mules from 3cc, so he went up from 0 to 9 workers. Which, you know, honestly, it's still a tragic economy, but if you look at it, it's actually not so bad. Wait, why does he keep He always has more than 3 meals. I wonder if he's like saving scans for like a burrowed bane or something like this. Because I feel like you, in this case, you just want to drop your meal instantly when you get the energy, right? But he actually seems to kind of like launch them in like pairs of 5, you know what I mean? I mean, wait, oh, he's making a Viking! Dude, that is so cool. When he's too poor to reliably make a Thor, he's gonna make a Viking to scare the Mutas out. I mean, it's gonna tickle the Mutas, but if they're trapped... That was actually a non-cancel, by the way. 300 minerals gone for Scarlett there. Big pick off. And yeah, now this is actually awesome, guys. Look, the Mutas are trapped, so you can actually drop freely. Normally, you would only, if you play against Mutas, you would only drop a very sneaky way. That's awesome pickup micro, by the way. If you guys saw that, actually saved so many Marines. Normally against Mutas, you don't want to drop freely. You just want to like sneak one in on the side. But because he trapped the Mutas, you could actually just drop freely like that. That was actually awesome play. I didn't even think of that. I was like, you know, Mutas are out on the field and my brain goes like, okay, no drops, guys. Stop it all. But ByuN expertly reading the game even 24 minutes into such a chaos. And I still find it very surprising that he hasn't really made more Marauders. I guess it makes sense in like the scrappy games. Though I do feel like if like one Ultralisk hit the field against 50 Marines, it would actually be really good for Scarlet. That's what I would be afraid of. Because ByuN doesn't really... I don't think he knows how poor Scarlet has been exactly with all those drones. But if I was in the Terran's position here, I wouldn't find it unreasonable to assume that an Ultralisk could pop out at any moment, you know? Even if it's just one. Yeah, ByuN now... I just want to touch on it one more time. Even though he's so aggressive, his understanding and his timings are actually insane. Like, the 2 times he actually chilled back in his game were exactly when he needed to chill back. And now... his economy was even with Scarlet all the time. And now the base finished up. That's exactly when he knows when to attack and he actually goes for it. Like, I feel like his read and like his read on the game state is actually just incredible. Like, I really don't know how he knows so perfectly when to attack. When I watch replays of myself against Zerg, I very often find myself thinking like, okay, now I could have attacked and maybe won the game. But how the hell was I supposed to know? Does that make sense to you guys? I feel like when I watch a replay, I can see it. I'm like, okay, yeah, I should have attacked. Oh, I should have not attacked here. But during the game, I find it super hard to actually know when to do that. But ByuN is so on top of it. And at this point, I feel like now for the first time, I would actually give the lead to ByuN. If he didn't attack there, Scarlet probably would have walked away with the game still. But there, he did enough damage. 14 workers against 19 is in the territory when Terran is going to take over with 3 mules. Like, a mule is about, I think, 3.5 workers. So 3cc is about 10 workers extra. Which means that ByuN is actually going to be in the eco lead. Minerals in this case are more important than gas, by the way. Because, yeah, you just want to make basic units. It's not like you're trying to make 1 Thor or, like, you know, 5 Mutas here at this point. I mean, you could, but it's way better to usually spam Link Bane and Marines Marauders, right? Now let's look how he's gonna split. How many Banelings on our field? 7 Banelings against 44 Marines. Yeah, I think ByuN has finally done it. And honestly, guys, I watched it. And I can kind of comprehend what happened. But I will still never think it's possible to do that when you're 50 supply down against more bases, more creep. Like, honestly, what on earth? What on earth? I have to say this game didn't give me a little bit of hope. I used to always play StarCraft like this, but I kind of gave it up in favor of, like, more legit playstyles and whatnot. But this was honestly incredible. You know, thanks ByuN Senpai for this. This is actually beautiful. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Thank you guys very much for watching the video. Don't forget to sub and like. And I'll see you guys next time. Adios.